Through majestic forests, alpine valleys and crystal-clear lakes, following the trails of wild animals, in search of rare birds, in places where no man had set a foot before. Precious, magnificent nature, in all its diversity and grandeur, in the documentary series Kazakhstan's Wildlife Sanctuaries. Fields of the foothill valleys have already turned green and the apricot is blossoming. But in Kazakhstan mountains, the air of spring just slightly touched separate areas. First flowers, crocus, alatavicus or baishishek, as they are called here. Among the juniper forests of the Sayram-Mogan National Park, the nature was preserved in its primordial state. It's hard to believe that one of the largest cities of southern Kazakhstan, Shymkent, is located just 60 kilometers away from here. Our expedition is greeted by flute songs of thrushes and shy ibexes, Tau Teke. As we approach, these mountain goats quickly disappear among inaccessible rocks of Sarıyaygır. Sayram-Mogan National Nature Park recently celebrated its 10th anniversary. It was established through merging of the Ugam, Tolebi and Tulkubas forest trees. For several decades since the Soviet period, these forest trees were preserving the forests and wildlife of the northeastern part of Western Tianshan. The territory of the park is almost 150,000 hectares. It consists of 3 separate parts, located in different mountain ranges. Each of them, Ugam, Boraldai and Irsu Dau Baba, has its unique diversity of nature. The largest among them is the Ugam branch. It includes the gorges of the Ugam range and Karjan Tau with numerous mountain rivers. Accompanied by employees of the national park, we make a detour around the territory of the Tolebi branch. Local mountain trails at an altitude of over 2,000 meters above sea level are difficult to traverse. The only way to pass through the deep snow or stony lowlands is on horseback. Grand Sayram Peak dominates the landscape. It hovers in the skies over the snow-covered mountain chain. It is 4,238 meters high. Eternal snows of slopes of the nearby peaks preserve water. Entire countries may get envious of the diversity of flora of the national park. The area is a home for about 1,500 species. This is a quarter of the diversity of the Kazakh flora. 67 species are listed in the Red Book of the Republic of Kazakhstan. Thickets of wild fruit trees occupy the lower part of the slopes. These are 2 kinds of wild apple trees, Sivers and Nedzvetsky apple, as well as walnuts, hawthorn thickets, cherry plums, wild apricot groves. Relic juniper forests occupy an area of more than 27,000 hectares high on slopes. Archa is the local name for juniper. This tree is a long liver. 3 types of archa inhabit these mountains. There are sections of real juniper forests in the valleys of Sayram-Su and Sarıyaygır rivers, where pure healing air is filled with phytoncides. Many of these trees are up to 500 years old. The forest belt is followed by a subalpine zone. This is where the creeping Turkestan juniper bushes crawl along the slopes. They create a certain image for the local landscape. Beautiful flowering alpine meadows are stretched on higher areas, right below the layer of eternal snow. The nature of Western Tian Shan is striking with abundance of unique endemic plants. In whole Kazakhstan, plants like Ostrovskia magnifica and Virginia ugamica may only be seen in Ugam Valley. Allium skemense, a curative wild onion, is on the verge of extinction due to overharvesting. Early spring is blossoming time for decorative flowers, irises albertii and Juna, blue and orchid. Another red-listed flora representative is Jer sabun, soap root used in the food industry. Among other red-listed plants, several worth noting. These are Schrenkia cultiacevai, that only grows on Irsu Daubaba area, Aconitum thalassicum, Sorbus persica, Centaurea turkistanica and Stipa karatavica. But the most special plants of the national park are two types of tulips, Greggy and water lily, Kaufmanniana. Most people instantly think about Holland when they see tulips. However, that wasn't where cultural tulips appeared initially. They lead their ancestry from the fabulous orchards of sultans of the Ottoman Empire. It was 16th century when tulips reached Europe, and before that, the love for tulips entered Turkey from the east, from our steppes and mountains, with nomads, Turks Seljuks. In nomad mythology, a tulip was a symbol of the ephemeral nature of earthly existence. Year after year, nomads were witnessing the eternal life cycle, spectacular spring flowering and rapid withering of beautiful flowers. The ancestor of modern tulips appeared about 20 million years ago on the territory of Kazakhstan. Several kinds of beautiful tulips grow here. Somewhere here, in the territory of southern Kazakhstan, is a place where tulip genus originates from. Scientists know over 100 species and they're spread around the world, from Mongolia to Europe, Iran in the south and northern Kazakhstan. Here in southern Kazakhstan, we may enjoy the greatest variety of these beautiful flowers. One of the tasks of the national park is to study the animal world. Employees of the park and experts from research centers are keeping track of fauna and conduct monitoring studies. Here, look, these traces in the snow belong to Turkestan lynx. Traces lead up to the mountains. Hunting expert Nurjan Akimbekov is checking camera traps. They are usually set on animal trails. Here, for example, we recently saw traces of a snow leopard. Nurjan hopes that the camera trap will capture the movements of this cautious and rare beast. This is our camera. On this side we have two camera traps. This camera was installed 2 weeks ago. Now I'll take the footage and recharge the camera. This time the snow leopard passed around the photo trap. But the camera recorded the nightlife of other, no less rare animals. Badgers and porcupine were noticed near the burrow of the Indian porcupine. These inhabitants of juniper thickets are especially active in the dark. Roe deer was another night visitor. Karatau argali also got in the frame. The park's staff set up feeding troughs on impassable paths and on rocky sides for additional nutrition. Siberian mountain goats are ungulates that are widely spread in this area. Siberian roe deer and wild boar also inhabit these mountains. According to the records, there are 55 mammal species in the national park. 10 of them are red-listed. We just saw a Siberian roe deer. We are setting special feeders with salt for ungulates. We watch the animals as they eat. We prepare 15 tons of hay each year, mix hay, salt and grains to feed wild animals. Ungulates feel safe in the national park. We watched a herd of mountain goats for a long time. They stood about 150 meters from us. The color of their wool is almost the same color as the rock. It's hard to notice them with the naked eye. Moreover, the animals stood still for a long time. Only male, the leader of the herd, sometimes made disturbing sounds. Finally, he moves and disappears behind the rocks. The rest are following him. Fortunately, we managed to make several decent shots. This year, the national park is preparing to implement a unique project: reintroduction of red deer, morels. They will be brought from eastern Kazakhstan. This is required to restore the population of red deer in western Tian Shan. This will be a huge benefit for our park, its ecosystem. Such large-scale project hasn't been conducted in our park ever. This is our big task, and we pin our hopes that we'll be able to implement it successfully. If you're lucky, you may see a unique man's bear mammoth in the mountains of western Tian Shan. It's the very beginning of spring now. We won't see man's bear's mammoth now, no matter how bad we want it. When we come here next time, at the end of April or the beginning of May, we must go up to the mountains. That is where they live. The story of the writing of man's bear's mammoth description is very interesting. By the beginning of the 20th century, scientists have already registered most of the large animals. Only few remained, which were not known to science due to their small number and limited habitat area. In 1920, professor from Moscow, Daniil Kashkarov, came across a known species of mammoth during one of the expeditions along western Tian Shan. It was the smallest among its relatives. Having made a scientific description of a new mammoth species, Kashkarov named it in honor of his teacher, academician Mikhail Menzbeer. The world of feathered species in the national park is very diverse. Over 250 species of birds have been registered so far. Representatives of both southern birds and those nesting in the northern latitudes nest here. Unlike other animals, birds are easier to note and observe. During this short expedition, we've managed to see 30 different kinds of birds. There are also those who spend winters here. There are black-throated thrushes, finches, which then fly off to Siberia to nest. It is still winter, therefore it's surprising to me to see a blue-capped redstart. Interesting. It usually comes here much later. In the sky there is a constant movement of bird silhouettes. Big predatory birds, golden eagles, Himalayan and bearded vultures are hovering in the ascending streams of air. They nest within inaccessible rocks. Riverbanks are inhabited by ducks and wagtails. This is where Indian paradise flycatcher nests, as well as this interesting bird, a whistling thrush, also known as bluebird. Those who believe that seeing this bird brings happiness must certainly visit these places, gorges of Sayramsu, Sarıaygır and Kaskasu. It won't be a problem to notice this bird. The flute song of the bluebird fills the area despite the loud sound of turbulent rivers. During this short expedition, we got acquainted with nature and fauna of western Tian Shan, as well as with wonderful people protecting reserved nature for future generations. Belated spring finally steps in, and off we go to the next expedition in search for stories telling about the unique nature of reserves and national parks of Kazakhstan.